There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, that's real tough.
but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good to see you. Good to be here. How is everybody? It is 5 past 4 p.m. here on the West Coast, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I don't know what time it is around the world, but if you are from anywhere else, thank you for being here. You're going to have to get your own time. It is so nice to see everybody. I know it's a bit earlier than normal. And so the time changes are fluctuating. I am actually going to be working on a set schedule to come on here. And that way, you know, there's no guessing, or I'm working on it, I promise. And hopefully in the next week or so, I can have that schedule. And that will be nice for, I think it'll be nice for me. It'll be nice for people that watch the show. And I think it'll be much, much smoother. And before I start the show, you know, I do want to talk a little bit about last show. And it kind of went in a direction. Well, it went in a direction that I wasn't particularly happy with. And that was really because of me. And I jumped on somebody, right or wrong. It was wrong to do that. And to not get informed by the facts and sort of just jumping the gun. And specifically, a person that was in the chat and who was, I don't know, probably not a subscriber anymore, and I understand why. Dope Soul, I don't necessarily know, you know, we don't have to agree on everything or whatever, but I did feel that the show went in a negative way because of me, and people got attacked because of me and the way that I let my frustration and my speculation get out of hand. So I do apologize for that. That's not necessarily the way that I wanted that to go. And I attacked people unprovokingly, and it was rude and wrong. And it's just not really indicative of what I want this channel to be. There's enough nastiness here on the internet for everybody to go around. And so I'm sorry to the people that may have felt a certain way after the show. And that is my fault. And I am very sorry about that. And so, it's all about peace and love. And I think that even the people that I disparaged and may have really went after didn't deserve it in the way in the way that I felt that I didn't. And whether you think that I should apologize or not, I feel that I should, and that's why I'm doing it. And so let me just do that. And so that's what I doing. So once again, I do apologize. Now, moving on, we'll just move on from that. I sit back and I think a lot about what's been happening in the YouTube world, and a lot of what's been going on just in general, all around, just everywhere. Like, it seems as though society in real life, on the internet, it all kind of bleeds together and everything becomes out of hand, and it gets out of hand, and people are, angry, and people are opinionated, and people are just people with different opinions. And I think that I just think there's so many enemies. We all have so many enemies now, it seems like, and I'm not sure. I always kind of go like, what have I done to cause people angst, for people to be upset with me? And I've done things and in life that, people wouldn't necessarily be too happy with, and it's made them angry towards me and me towards them, and, so on and so forth. Now, the major concern for me is I always go like, well, I always say, I don't have any enemies. Just maybe the same way you kind of feel. I don't have any enemies. Like, what is an actual enemy? And I've kind of come to the conclusion after thinking about it that it's anyone, who wishes bad against us or works bad against us. We definitely do all have enemies. And, if people are wishing bad against us, and whether just in thought or in action, those people are our enemies. They definitely are. And it's not like it's not necessarily a bad thing to have enemies, is it? I don't think so. I don't think it's a bad thing. And there's no reason to pretend that we don't have them. There's no reason to pretend that we don't have enemies, because we absolutely do. There are people out there that wish the worst for you. There are people out there that work to do bad things to you and take glee in the fact that you're having a bad time or a bad go at life. That's an enemy to me. And then the question is, well, what do you do? And there are people that I've said, you know what? I hope that person falls flat on their face, and they don't, and they absolutely do not recover. That person would perceive me as their enemy. I'm doing the same thing to them that I perceive as an enemy. I do the same exact thing. Whether you're quiet about it, whether you're loud about it, it's just JC says the, no F's and stuff drama never ends. Get the hell over yourselves and grow up. You're exhausting and immature over and out. There's an enemy right there. That's not that's not conducive to the conversation that we're having. That's not a positive conversation or affirmation. Anybody that thinks that they can just sum up what somebody has to say in that few of words isn't necessarily an enemy, more so a fool. And that's okay. That's okay. He's allowed to have his opinion. He's allowed to state things that he's not sure about, or, it doesn't matter. That wasn't necessarily well wishes. Those aren't well wishes, people. And for any of you that are here, this is not a true crime discussion. This is just a discussion, my thoughts. And so if you came here to hear me rip on Candace or Don or this isn't that'll be in the title when that happens. That's not what this is. This is me talking to you, trying to understand the ins and outs of why we make enemies and why we have them on here. The title of it is Live by the Sword and Die. We obviously, everybody, all of us inevitably will die. That's just, we all end up in the same spot, but it's from the beginning, the middle, and then the end. What do we do in between all that birth and death? What is the point? What are we doing here? Are we getting along? Are we making a positive impact while we're here? Are we telling the truth about who we are and what we are? And how do we treat our enemy? And it's one of those things where people say, well, you got to love your enemy, but you don't have to. You don't have to love your enemy. You don't even have to care for your enemy. People wish bad things on everybody all the time. That is enough to put negative energy out there in the world. That's just the long and short of it. That's just the long and short of it. I choose to not engage enemies or foes or whatever you want to call them. It's not worth the energy. It's not worth the time. And in a lot of ways, every day, especially on here, I'll wake up and there will be new clips of me saying something or somebody else saying something about something I've said in the past. Or, I mean, you can go all the way back up. Trust me. I've had clips sent to me in the last few days. Like, do you remember when you were on this person's panel on this? And do you remember this and this and this? I remember a lot of it. I don't remember it all. I remember a lot. And I'm sure that, you could dig and dig some more. I'm sure there's something there. It's what happens when you get up in front of a bunch of people and talk for, a long time, for months on end, or even years for that matter. You're never going to escape criticism. Celeste says, if I don't like the channel, I just don't go there. It's simple. Amen to that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And it is always appreciated And let me see. Sorry, there was a. Thank you for becoming a member. It's super appreciated. And then we have Sophie as well. Danielle, what's going on? Danielle, Josh, I really value the fact that I can depend on you to remain consistent and authentic no matter what's going on. Much love and respect. Thank you, Danielle. And hang in there. We're all in this. We're all in this together. You know. Annabella says that I appreciate you and your message. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor for you guys to see. And Mystery Maven's in the house. What's going on? Hello to all the mods as well and the subscribers. And make sure to hit that thumbs up while you're here. Totally appreciated. In the words of Reverend Martin Luther King, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Love encompasses everything. Hatred can be overcome. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that it can be overcome. And I think, let's see here. This is a good point too. Large creators have the power to craft their own bully pulpit. Some of us don't have a voice. And that was part of the reason of apologizing, because when I did, it is true, you can sit up here and overpower somebody that's just chatting or that isn't speaking at the moment. And that's not really fair either. And so when you do that and you kind of wag your finger down on these, on people, it creates kind of a hostile environment, and I'm not necessarily too into that. You know, by no means am I perfect human. I've never claimed to be. I get annoyed and angry sometimes as well. Josh, there are things I strongly disagree with you about. But health, well-balanced adults, it's okay. I agree with you. It is totally okay to disagree with me. And I've told people this: if I ever, in any way, shape, or form, you come here to listen to me talk about my thoughts, and if my actions do not match up with the message that I'm delivering, I don't expect to have one last listener, subscriber, supporter, member, and rightfully so. I would never expect somebody ever to blindly follow me, even to the depths of wherever. Hell, if you will. Please don't. Please don't. Hold me accountable, hold each other accountable, but we can do it in a respectful way. If my actions don't match up with my message, well, then I'm a fake. I'm a fraud. And I would expect you to hold me accountable for that the same way I would hold you accountable. It's not right. Blind loyalty is one of the craziest things that you could ever have towards somebody. Please don't let me sway you because you think different than I do, but, well, you know, he's got this platform. I enjoy Josh most of the time. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes he's completely rude to people, talks derogatory towards women. This is an example. Some people consider me arrogant. Some people consider me rude or short or whatever. Fair. But don't let me hinder you from feeling the way that you need to feel about certain situations when I'm clearly in the wrong. I am not always right. I don't always think through everything that I should. Who does? I jump the gun sometimes. I do a lot of things that I'm not always proud of. I don't always say the right things, and neither do you. But I'm telling you, folks, please, when you go other places and listen to other people speak, and this includes me and it includes anybody, if their values that they state openly do not match their actions, please don't be fooled. Please don't be fooled. It is so wrong for people to manipulate people's emotions. There are people that watch these shows, quote unquote shows, that are absolutely lonely, heartbroken, upset, anything that you could think of. And in a community of people such as this one, where most of us have a background of something bad happening in our lives, the fact that there are people out there that prey on these people through their emotion and kindness is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. And if I do that personally, if I personally ever do that, I'm telling you, I don't expect to have one single person ever listen to me or watch me, because I'm a hypocrite and I'm a scammer and I don't stand for the values that I state. But the fact of the matter is, folks, this isn't an act. This is how I truly feel. You could talk to the closest people around me and they will tell you that this is how I truly feel. It may not been how I always felt, and that I have in a lot of ways progressed over time and really worked at what I'm trying to do personally, just like everybody else. We all have our own journey. Preying and playing on people's vulnerability is unacceptable. There's no question about it. There's no question about that. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot. The victim mentality seems to work a lot. And we are all, in one way, shape, or another, victims. All of us. We're all victims in one way, shape, or another. But we're all also capable of thinking for ourselves and overcoming the things that we need to overcome. Everybody is born with a certain kind of greatness in them. Who knows exactly what that is for everybody, but we're all born with different talents. I'm sure there's each person in this room is capable of doing something that the other person isn't, and vice versa. We're all unique in that way. And the people that will tell you, well, I'm not good at anything, well, that just means that they haven't tried, because everybody's good at something. I happen to be good at stacking cups. I'm sure there's not a lot of people that are into that. Neither am I. I just happen to be good at it. Juggling, pretty good at that too. I don't know why. It's a skill. And say I go to a youth group and I juggle in front of them because that's what they like. I don't know. People don't really like juggling. I'm just making, I'm sure some do. I'm just making whatever can grab their attention and then spread a positive message is where we need to be. We just try to do a little better each day, and you have. That's what we try to do. I'm good at eating too much. There are contests that you can enter. That is a skill. People make a living off that. They absolutely do. Did I miss a new member? I don't want to do that. Bethany Sage, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Annabella says, yes, make sure you match when you leave the house. Don't be caught wearing 2 different color socks and expect to be taken seriously. Words and behavior walk the talk. I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, Hippiporium. I like that name, Hippiporium. Welcome. And Deb Jackson says, thank you. I really appreciate you and your point of view. I appreciate you and listening to my point of view. Single Mother 4, I saw that you also became a member, and thank you so much for that. Sandra Neal says, I'm good at not always having a filter. Well, that may be something that you could even get better at not. I'm good at speaking my mind and getting blocked. I think we're all good at that. I think that we're all here because we do speak our minds. Josh, I'm good at making balloons. Like, what do you mean making balloons? Do you mean you actually manufacture them or you blow them up and then make like animal balloons? I sing a song sometimes called If the Savior Stood Beside Me, Would I Do the Things I Do? Sounds cheesy, but that's me. It's not cheesy. It's what makes you feel better. That's what makes you feel better. What's wrong with that? We should learn from our mistakes and positively go forward. Things can be better. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you greet people with violence and harshness, that's what you're going to get in return. Perfect example, last show that I did. That's what happened to me. Fair enough. But if you treat people right and you do the things that are respectable, well, then guess what? A lot of that's going to reciprocate into your life. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Live with peace, receive peace. It's not that hard it's not that big, or it's not a really hard theory to figure out. It's simple, actually. It's very simple. Strawberry Kisses became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. It's very great. I appreciate it. Tabitha says, I'm a good observer and I am good at discerning. Well, that is a unique talent. It really is. And I'm sure it has served you well in life, and it will forever serve you well in life. And people need to be more observant and not be fooled. I have been fooled before, and I tell myself that I'm a great judge of character, and most of the time I am, and sometimes a little bit too graceful. when it comes to people, because I somewhat understand the human condition of pain and suffering, and a lot of people bring that pain and suffering on themselves. I'm not saying all do, but it does happen constantly. It happens a lot. I mean, once again, you the way that you live, in the Bible, it says, treat, it talks about your neighbor a lot, and treat others how you want to be treated. And I always wondered, like, what do you mean neighbor? Because back then it seemed like people didn't really live that close together. And it's not like people lived in, track houses or anything like that. Neighbor was just anybody. Jesus spoke of neighbors, whether you believe in the Bible or not. There are some fantastic parables in there that teach us a lot. Your neighbor is everybody. It's any person that you come into contact with. That's your neighbor. Anybody you brush shoulders with is your neighbor. Anybody that you come into contact is your neighbor, and they deserve the love and the respect that you can offer them. Even when they wish bad upon you, people deserve your love and respect. Your enemies, even your enemies, your worst enemies, deserve your love and respect. How hard is that to give it to them? Insanely hard. It's insanely difficult to do, but it is possible. It is possible. You sit back and you go, there's no way that's possible, Josh. How could you love somebody who wishes bad upon you and talks bad about you? Because I'm not in their head and I don't want to be. So I choose to have grace over hatred. I'm a bit more self-aware than some people, and that's just because of the way that my brain works. Some people are not self-aware, and for some reason, they choose to embarrass themselves or say things that I would never say. And I don't really think that it's that big of a deal when somebody wishes bad upon you, because you have the opportunity to be the one who does good in your life. They can't control me. I can't control them. And I don't want to. Sandra Neal, I'm not a better person than you. That's not true. I'm not. Maybe I just think different. That's it. And look, this is when I say that's how I choose. It's not always that way. I try to make it that way. I try to, the 24-hour, I have a 24-hour rule. It's like, you want to sit, don't react right away. There's no reason to react strictly off emotion, because that's when it gets you in trouble. I.e., I don't know. I mean, I was somewhat emotional last time. But I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that way. Never. And the people that bend the truth about you or just flat out lie is the same way that so people will say things about you that may have some truth to it or sprinkle in a bit of truth and then really layer it with a bunch of, dog crap on top of it. That happens all the time. So it's like, well, that can be kind of believable, but it's not. And so what happens is they layer a little truth on top of lies, which is the same thing as a lie. It's no different. It's no different than a lie. Layer like a nacho pie. Yeah. Something like that. But what purpose is it going to serve me to let that person who does those things affect my life on a daily basis? That's not something I'm very interested in. That's not something I'm interested in. And if they are, let them wear themselves out. Eventually, all fakes expose themselves, so it's best to leave that alone. But if you move silently, with compassion, with love, with understanding, I can guarantee you things will look brighter at the end of the day. They may not be perfect, but they will be brighter at the end of the day. Love and peace abounds. And I love to laugh and joke. The other night I was talking with my kids and we were all laughing and I fell out of my chair because I was laughing so hard because my kid, my oldest son, who's 18, you guys heard him on the show. He's hilarious. And he's got the same sense of humor as I do. We have the same kind of laugh. And it's funny because when we start laughing and we'll look at each other and if it's a chuckle and we both feel that it's like worth more, our laugh goes from like second gear to like fourth gear, like that, and we feed off of each other. It's contagious. I don't know why. It just is. It's very contagious because he'll say something, he'll gauge my reaction, I'll chuckle, he'll start to chuckle, and then we find it even funnier, and then we up it. It goes from a it's contagious. It's contagious. And I know when we're going to do it because we're making eye contact, laughing. It's the best. It's the best. And then when the night is over and they go off to bed and I do the same thing, I sit back and I go, we had a great time tonight. I sleep much easier. I sleep a lot better. As to when I get upset with them and say, you know what, just go to bed. I mean, the whole thing makes so much more sense. Because when you feel love and you are loved, you can rest easier. When you show love and it's shown back, you can rest easier. And sometimes you can show love and it's not reciprocated, but that's okay because you know in your heart what you really have tried to do. And that is to be a good person. That's just how it is. I've gone through all kinds of emotions just like you have in your life. And my favorite emotion is happiness, laughter. I come on here and I talk, and sometimes I sound stern or upset. Make no mistake, laughing is my first true love. It's gotten me through a lot of stuff in my life. And being down and depressed has cost me things in my life. And so it only stands to reason why I would much rather laugh and love. That's why. That's the same thing that I've passed down to my kids, laughing and loving and trying to be positive. It's going to be okay. We're going to work through this together. Doom and gloom doesn't really work. Everybody's out to get me. I'm a victim. Doesn't really work. Each day, as cheesy as it sounds, is a new opportunity. Even if you had a bad day yesterday, you can still make today a good day. It doesn't have to bleed over. A lot of the times it does, and we let it happen. Why we let it happen? It's just human nature. It's human nature to feel sorry for ourselves. It is just human nature, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean just because it's that we have to live that way. You know, I mean, I've done my share of pouting and feeling sorry for myself and everything. I've done all kinds of that. There's always a new hope. There's always something there's always something to do better with. Treating people better, talking to people better. It's all possible. Lisa Max says, hi, all just coming on. We'll have to catch up. Josh, you're early tonight. I am early tonight because I told my Gam that I would cook her dinner. So there you go. She just got out of the hospital and I promised her I would cook her dinner. So I thought I would come on a little earlier to save myself some time on the back end so I could spend time with her as she has just got out of the hospital. And thank you guys for all the prayers for her. It meant the world to me. And after 3 weeks of being in the hospital, she is out and she is home and she is happy. Well, she's happy. She's grandma. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So I'm very, very happy. And I know that hospital food isn't good all the time. Like when you, for 3 weeks or whatever, you're just eating hospital food. That can't be fun. She was complaining to me how dry the chicken was. She was complaining how dry the chicken was, and she's, let me see here. Hold on. I'll show you guys some. You guys will. I'll do it. Maybe you guys will. How did I? What is that? Blue. Here we go. 1 second.
Hello?
Hey, Grandma, you're on the air. How are you?
Joshua,
I just wanted to
kick your
don't
butt.
well, calm down, right? We're talking about being graceful.
Yeah.
These are all the
I
people
don't
that are
know.
listening. Listen to me. These are all the people that are listening that have prayed for you, and so
Well, tell them all thank you, and I appreciate it.
and how happy are you to be home?
I am real happy to be home.
Yep. And all these people were so gracious. So I just wanted you to know how loved you really are. And I'll talk to you later.
Well,
I love you.
all right. Love you too.
Bye-bye. There it is. Yeah, she's a real peach. Oh God, she's gonna kick my butt. She's gonna be mad. Joshua. Sorry. Anyway, she was mad. Yeah, she was complaining about how dry the chicken was and stuff. Joshua. Yeah. I'm gonna kick your butt. Like grandma, this is not what the show's about. And she definitely would. Yeah, I said, oh, she's so sweet. Kick your butt. Don't kick my butt, Grandma. I'm gonna burn her chicken tonight. How's that, Grandma? Yes, Grandma. That was funny. Your chicken's still gonna be dry. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. She's the last grandparent I have. You know, like I said, and she raised me. She's fantastic. And you guys were nothing but nice and supportive and have just gone above and beyond. And I thought I'd put her on the spot like that. I knew that would be the reaction that I got. So no, I'm not gonna burn her chicken. I'm gonna cook it as good as I can. I only knew one grandma. Love your cheeky grandma. Yeah. She probably does not care if she's on air or not, Josh. She's telling you how it is. That's a fact. She doesn't care. She doesn't. You know what? Yep, she was. I'd be mad too. I'm a grandma too. Yeah, well, she absolutely deserved it. Are you on Facebook, Josh? Yes. Matter of fact, if somebody could put that Facebook link up, we do have a Facebook now, and so absolutely. I don't have the link, but if somebody could just throw that up. Next time I'll prank her. Josh, I agree with Grandma. I was in the hospital at the beginning of the month. I finally told my nurse it was worse than prison food. Yeah, she was not happy about. I mean, that the worst part was they kept telling her like you can go home soon, and then they'd give her a day. I love it. She's a butt kicker. Yeah, I'm telling you, she raised me just like I didn't get any like there was no coddling. I mean, she definitely took care of me, but like I said, I was responsible for everything that. Josh, I never knew any of my grandparents, so I'll adopt your grandma. Yep, sure. I'll pack her a sandwich and put it on the curb with her stuff. Head on over. Make sure to bring a truck. She's got. You're gonna have to put a breathing machine in it. Josh, what do you think about the missing inmate and correctional officer? I think that once again, that's sad. That lady just ruined her entire life because I'm guessing that she was manipulated by this scumbag, which is pretty standard. I think it's like pretty standard, you know, that people do stuff like that. The manipulating, I don't know, man. I read about that and I just couldn't believe it. There are so many con artists in the world, and that could get you like on the outside, like looking in, you'd go, that is one of the most insane things that she had ever done. And yet she did it anyway. you know. Josh, greater than, you have done 2 videos that have changed my life. One, 6-minute about value with the pocket watch, and 2, the ugliest woman. I tell random people at the store about them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I sure hope she's not harmed in the end. I agree. I agree, because I'm telling you, the scammers in this world, they're everywhere. Even in, like, how could you give up your job of 20 years for that scumbag? What he did was not only, his life was already ruined, so it seems like he didn't have any problem. He had no problem ruining her. Can you imagine? It's like, if you actually cared about that person, if he actually cared about her, he wouldn't have done what he did. So it further tells me that he doesn't actually care about her, because he ruined her life by getting her to do something. Now, I'm not saying that she has no blame, but I'm telling you that this is a common theme. The lonely and vulnerable are attacked. They're seeked out, and that's what happened. Yep, and her superior said he was shocked. Yeah, I am too. I just don't understand the thought process there. It is correct. He's a master manipulator. I agree. She sold her house also, and they have issued a warrant for her. Just so sad. And I believe there's a cold case that they may be attaching to him. I know. Mary Hartman. Is Mary here? Hi, Mary. He handpicked her and served her what she needed for his own gain. I mean, kind of like the streets of YouTube. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. It's not a new game plan, because there are so many people everywhere that let's see. Loveland, pardon me. Respectfully, I wish to state we don't know who did what and why. Ellie has not made an arrest. Yeah, I mean, I guess it seems like they ran off together. I mean, as for whatever has happened from that, I don't know. You act like my son, you'll be getting words later. I'm sure I will. Josh, this is where, be careful. I mean, there's a crazy man on the loose. Mary, everybody go over to Mary Hartman's Dinner, Drinks, and Tasty Treats if you haven't, and subscribe. I'm telling you, she's the reason I started buying Tabasco in bulk. I love the beer wings. She lost her ex-husband, who she helped take care of. I know that helping through his Parkinson, she was in a fog, and this con got her at her lowest. I'm not going to disparage this lady. I don't know anything about her, but I read this man's criminal record, and he's a turd. Absolutely. Please, if you're in here and you haven't, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Please do. Correct. That's the part that really I understand wholeheartedly, is that he has nothing to lose, everything to gain is freedom, and he has manipulated seemingly a hardworking person and I don't know much about her, but it seems as though he's manipulated a hardworking woman who has had issues. It's just, yeah, it is not a good thing. Let's just put it that way. Take it for what it is. Or say, seen him on the. Tom Vick hadn't been. Yeah, wow. That's pretty crazy. That he wasn't. So what is it? He said, and he isn't going alive if he's facing 75 years. Yeah, he has nothing to lose. And he seeked out somebody who he could manipulate. I guess you're getting a kick out of it. I think it's sad, but she ruined her life, and she's lucky if he doesn't hurt her. Correct. I agree. It is an absolutely crazy story. Oopsies, the lab. Hey there. I'm sorry. You don't want to get me started on that, though. You won't like my opinion any better on that one. Guilt or innocence of. I mean, you don't want to get me going on that one. That's downhill. I'm not even going to speak on it, but I appreciate that. No, I definitely wasn't talking about them. Please leave your. Yes, exactly. Please. Mississippi girl, thank you so much for that. I very much appreciated. I agree. That's 110%. Manipulative people are good at what they do because they spend their whole life doing it. They spend their whole life doing it. Sucks. Dina says if she's depressed after losing her husband, etc., here's this con artist kicking up the charm. She's going to fall for it, think he's some poor soul that can be saved or something. We've all had those friends. Thank you so much, Rockin' RN. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. I can't hear anything, RN, but I wanted to say hi. Oh, RN right now. Sorry. I wanted to say hi and let y'all know I love you. Stabbing today at Belton High. My niece saw everything. We got to do better by our children. That's terrible. Thank you for being here, Lori. Sorry I went off topic, but Summer is still missing. I know. I know she is. Yeah, they're going to find him, and it's not going to be that long either. I couldn't expect. Couldn't expect it any different. Yeah, I do too. I can hear it now, but I love them. Absolutely. That's on the way for sure. Honey Hush became a new YouTube member. Thank you so much for that. The dude's 7 feet tall. Yeah, I know. He's enormous. Uh-oh. You guys are all funny. He sure is huge. Yeah, he's enormous. So good luck. Good luck keeping your head down, buddy. It's so stupid. Oh man. Thank you guys for being here this afternoon and evening. And I wish everybody a good night. Thank you for all the new members, super stickers, super chats, everything. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. You guys have a good night. I hope this message found somebody and resonated, even if it's just one. Thank you.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna
the
do what
boys.
I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has.
is not, really? It is to me. Right. Idiot.
I done my best. It's hard, you know. That's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? It is to me.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.